Alright, welcome back to the Flat Irons Tuning Shop Chronicles. We've got the yellow WRX in the shop that we're going to start doing some work on here. And after our initial video, we got some questions about, asking if I could go through the car as it sits now before I make any changes to it, just to kind of give you guys a baseline idea of the progression of the car. So we'll start in the engine bay. So this is now a 2.5 liter long block, short block and heads, D25 heads, using non-ABCS cams. And in the process of doing that swap, we put together a video, and you can find a link to that. I'll put it above here. Turbocharger is a TD06H20G turbo. Wheel horsepower at this point is about 320, 330 wheel horsepower. It is still a stock short block, stock heads. There's some head work done, and then it's GSC stage 1 valves. There's really not anything else significantly different. Running a Koyo radiator here. Started off running a catch can for a brief period of time. Ran a Radium air oil separator for a while, and now I've gone back to the Radium dual catch cans, and we put together a video about that pretty recently here as well. In terms of drivetrain, so still running the 5-speed transmission. Rebuilt the stock 5-speed with version 6 STI gears, put in a Modena torque biasing front differential, and for the rear differential, actually running an AP SureTrack differential back there. So we've got torque biasing differentials front and rear, and then basically just the version 6 STI gears, which is the same ratio as the Spec B gears. So the drivetrain has worked really well with this power plant. Definitely like the extra torque of the 2.5 liter. And the TD06H20G, that is the biggest 20G that was available at the time. So it does come on a little bit later in the RPM range, but that's okay, because it just kind of helps the drivetrain stay happy and make that a little bit less of a concern. So I think that pretty much covers the engine and drivetrain. So let's talk brakes and suspension. All right, so suspension, brakes and suspension. Coilovers are Cusco 02Es. Again, I think I put these on in 2008 or 2009. It has been a long time ago. They've been great for a long, long time, but it's been a long, long time. So it's time to kind of, either freshen them up or do something else. Brakes, we've now got the AP Racing 325 millimeter kit up front with ducting. We've made videos about both of those. For sway bars, we've got white line 22 millimeters front and rear. We have the white line roll center adjust kit up front, and then a very old Perrin PSRS, or basically the Perrin anti-lift kit. I picked that one over the white line at the time. If memory serves, and again, it's been a long time ago, but I think the Perrin one has Zerks and the white line one didn't, and that was the deciding factor way back when. I do have some chassis bracing, but that's not on currently, front of carbine lower arm bar. I should also mention, because that reminds me, if you watch the video that I made on this car about weight saving, so we've got Oswald front and rear bumper beams, aluminum bumper beams, so saved about 40 pounds there. And then that carbine subframe saved, I think it was another 10 or 15 pounds as well. So done some weight savings, and that's where we're at with brakes and suspension. Let's hop to the rear. Okay, so now we're in the back. So in the rear for the brakes, I am now running rear Brembos, and those paired with the AP Racing fronts. Phenomenal brake upgrade for me. Really happy with their performance. So the brakes are working great. Again, Cusco 02Es in the rear. Do have STI trailing arms, and I have the white line adjustable lateral links. So one of the questions is going to be those adjustable lateral links. We've done an alignment. It's been probably 4 years ago at this point, 3 or 4 years. Gonna have to see if they still move if we're going to do this alignment again. But that kind of is part of the story of another one of the motivations to come back here and make some changes. The top hats that I have on these Cusco 02Es are not adjustable, so they slot into the factory mounts just like a stock strut would. I was trying to pick up camber with the adjustable lateral links, but the problem on the GD chassis, or these McPherson strut cars, when you try and pick up camber that way, it pushes the knuckle out, and therefore you can have wheel clearance issues. If you want more camber, that wheel is going to keep getting further and further, pushed further and further out. And so if you have a car that has narrow wheel arches, like wagons do, then the more camber you try and gain with these adjustable lateral links, the more wheel and tire fitment issues that you have. You can maybe kind of see I've pretty aggressively rolled the fenders, and I'm able to run 245s, but that's it. Now the thing of it is, the most camber that we were able to get out of the back here is about 1.6 degrees, 1.6, 1.8 degrees, not even 2 degrees in the back. And that's just it. There was really nothing else that we could do as far as in terms of wheel and tire clearance to push that out anymore. And you really don't want to gain a ton of camber with those adjustable lateral links, because then you can start putting stress on your axle as well. So part of the motivation to come back here and reinvent or envision things is to find more, better, different ways to get negative camber in the rear. Yeah, so that's one of the big motivators for this. The other one is a very nasty suspension clunk up front. So I'll try and throw up a clip of that, but for a long time I've had a really gnarly clunk up front going over any kind of bumps. We've tried to track it down with pry bars and putting the car up in the air. Many of us have put our eyes underneath the car and pry bars and stuff trying to find whatever's loose, and we never really found anything. But my guess is that it is that anti-lift kit up front that is finally needing some replacement, because there's just like when you come onto the brakes on a hill, you get a thunk, you come off the brakes, you get another thunk. It sounds like those front control arms are moving, so that needs some attention, and we've got to find some way to get some more camber in the back, because that is one of the biggest issues that I've had is, on long sweeping corners, the rear end will wash out on me, just mid-corner. So trying to get a little bit more camber and do some different alignment things with this car to try and get it to handle a little bit better. So that is pretty much all the high points of where we're at currently. Have a lot in store, and we will get into that in a separate video. Probably going to do a little bit more of a deep dive about all the parts that we picked and why. But yeah, so that is what is currently on the car. So if you got any questions or want to know any more details about what's on the car, leave them in the comments below. And otherwise, until next time, as always, stay tuned with Flatirons Tuning.